Deep within the shimmering realm of fairyland, where magic flowed like the wind and dreams were woven into reality, lived Lyra, the Tooth Fairy. She was graceful, powerful, and deeply committed to her duty of collecting children's lost teeth and bestowing them with tiny gifts of wonder. But her heart carried a secret, a forbidden love that could shake the very foundations of the fairy world. Long ago, Lyra had met a mortal man named Elias, a gifted craftsman who lived in the quiet town of Everbrook. His hands shaped wood like an artist sculpting dreams, and his heart carried the warmth of 1,000 suns. One fateful night, while on her usual rounds, Lyra's wings faltered, and she found herself unable to lift off after collecting a tooth. It was Elias who had found her in his garden, shimmering with fairy dust and struggling to regain her strength. Instead of fear, Elias had shown kindness, offering her a place to rest and recover. He had always believed in magic, in the unseen forces that touched the mortal world, and now, he had proof before his eyes. As the days passed, Lyra healed, but in that time, something even greater bloomed between them, love. But fairy law was strict. Fairies were never meant to love mortals. The High Council of Fairies, ruled by Queen Alaris, had forbidden any such union, for a child born of fairy and human blood would carry an unpredictable force, a magic neither fully fairy nor fully mortal. Knowing the risks, Lyra and Elias met in secret, their love growing stronger with every passing night. One evening, beneath the silver glow of the moon, Lyra made the impossible choice. She would defy the laws of fairyland. She would choose love over duty, passion over obedience. And soon, the whispers of destiny wove their greatest story yet. Lyra was with child. The moment the High Council learned of Lyra's pregnancy, chaos erupted in fairyland. The elders feared what the child could become. Would he be a force of harmony or a threat to the balance of magic? Queen Alaris summoned Lyra to the Crystal Court, where judgment was swift and merciless. She was stripped of her wings, her fairy magic sealed within an enchanted sapphire, and exiled from fairyland. Her love for Elias had cost her everything. Heartbroken but determined, Lyra returned to Everbrook, where Elias welcomed her with open arms. Together, they built a life, hiding away from the eyes of both the mortal world and the fairy realm. Months passed, and on the night of a rare celestial event, the eclipse of the Phi, their son was born. His name was Kale. From the moment he took his first breath, the very air around him shimmered with an ethereal glow. He had his father's striking green eyes but carried an otherworldly luminescence in his veins. As he grew, it became clear, Kale was not just any child. His laughter carried echoes of forgotten fairy songs, his touch could make flowers bloom in the dead of winter, and when he dreamed, he glimpsed visions of places he had never been. But even in their secluded cottage, danger loomed. The High Council had not forgotten. The Queen had sent her spies, shadowy creatures that moved between worlds, searching for Lyra's son. They knew that Kale was an anomaly, a living testament to a forbidden love. And they would not allow him to exist. Kale's childhood was spent in secrecy. Lyra and Elias never stayed in one place for long, always moving, always hiding. But Kale was not a child who could be easily concealed. By the time he turned 10, his powers were growing stronger, harder to control. One night, while wandering too far into the woods, Kale encountered a strange, cloaked figure. The figure, a fairy named Zephyr, had been sent to retrieve him. But instead of capturing the boy, Zephyr hesitated. Kale's presence radiated something ancient, something even the Queen herself could not predict. "You are more than just a fairy's son," Zephyr murmured. "You are the bridge between two worlds." But before Zephyr could explain further, the ground trembled. Dark fairies, the enforcers of the Queen, descended upon the forest like a storm. Lyra and Elias arrived just in time, fighting with all they had to protect their son. In the chaos, Zephyr made a fateful choice. He turned against his own kind, shielding Kale from harm and helping the family escape. With Zephyr's guidance, they fled to an ancient sanctuary, hidden deep within the mountains. There, Kale learned the truth. He was the first of his kind, a being born of love and defiance, carrying the essence of both the mortal and magical worlds. And his destiny was greater than any of them had ever imagined. In the sanctuary, Kale discovered an ancient prophecy written in the language of the stars. It spoke of a child born from forbidden love, one who would either unite the realms or bring them to ruin. But as Kale trained to control his powers, the High Council grew restless. The Queen, fearing the prophecy, declared war upon the boy. She sent her strongest warriors, creatures born from the very heart of darkness. On the eve of the final battle, Elias placed his hands on Kale's shoulders. No matter what happens, remember, you are loved. And love is the greatest magic of all. The battle was fierce. Lyra and Elias fought alongside Zephyr, but the Queen's forces were relentless. Then, as Kale stood face to face with the Queen herself, a terrible truth was revealed: Alaris was not just the ruler of Fairyland. She was Lyra's own mother, Kale's grandmother. Your existence was never meant to be, the Queen said, raising her staff to strike him down. But in that moment, Kale's powers fully awakened. He did not fight with fury, nor with hatred. He fought with love. He unleashed a magic neither fairy nor mortal, a force that transcended time itself. With a single touch, he shattered the Queen's power, breaking the barriers between realms. But such magic came at a cost. Elias, in a final act of sacrifice, stepped forward to shield Lyra and Kale from the collapsing energy. He vanished into the light, his last words echoing through the wind. I will always be with you. In the aftermath, Fairyland was forever changed. The laws that once forbade love between fairies and mortals were rewritten. The Queen, stripped of her power, vanished into the shadows, never to be seen again. Lyra and Kale returned to Everbrook, where they honored Elias's memory. Kale, now a young man, carried his father's kindness and his mother's strength. But he also carried something greater, a new path for the future. With time, Kale became the first ambassador between the mortal and fairy worlds. He helped lost souls find their way, ensured that magic flowed freely without fear, and proved that love could defy even the oldest laws. And so, the legend of the Tooth Fairy's son lived on, a tale of forbidden love, sacrifice, and a destiny shaped by the most powerful force in existence, love.